Hey Homeworthy, I'm Hema. Welcome to my house in Los Angeles. Come on in, I'd love to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Hema Persad and I'm an interior designer. Today we're here in my home in Los Angeles, California. It is a California style bungalow built in the 50s and it's small and cute and cozy and we love it. Welcome to my living room. This is the first room you see when you walk in the house, and the vibe in here is very cozy and collected. I go to the Rose Bowl flea market a lot and I travel a lot. So around the living room, you'll see a lot of things that I've picked up from different places, and maybe it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me. So here's kind of where all the TV watching and all the magic happens. This is kind of the only big TV in our house except for the one in the bedroom. So the kids are here, our friends and family are here. I kind of went with like a very eclectic seating arrangement. I'm not a big fan of matchy furniture. So all of these have kind of been gathered at different times. The rug is a vintage find from the Rose Bowl. I think it's like 50 years old, from Pakistan. And I just like the colors. I felt like it was dark so that when my 4-year-old drops her chips and cereal on it, you might not see it like right away. And I also figure that something that old is probably that looks this good 50 years later is probably gonna last another 50 years. The rugs they make these days are not the same as the quality of the rugs they were making 50 years ago. So always buy vintage rugs if you can. As you can see, I really love pink. I have a very supportive husband and he's kind of like into whatever I like, which is really nice. He doesn't get too involved in the design decisions. And so he was like on board with the pink couch. And what I love about this couch is that the 5 of us can sit on it very, very comfortably. I wanted a couch that, like, for movie nights and, you know, when like general TV football Sundays, all 5 of us fit here very comfortably, and it's actually really nice. This wall of artifacts is also something that, you know, maybe it's kind of weird to some people, but it kind of, every time I look at it, reminds me of places I've been. So some of these are from Mexico, some are from Mexico City, some things from India. Some of them I've collected from one of my sellers at the Rose Bowl flea market. So it's kind of like an eclectic arrangement of things that tell a story, I think. This is like one of the incense holders that we use in some of our prayer ceremonies. And so I just kind of thought, hey, instead of artwork, it might be nice to kind of display some artifacts that otherwise might be just sitting in a closet or on a counter somewhere. So that's kind of the idea. You can take anything, literally anything, and hang it on a wall as artwork. I'm a big plant person. So throughout the house, you're gonna see evidence of my plant motherhood. This tree has been with me for 2 years. It started really short. It's a dragon tree, and they're kind of notorious for growing really slowly. And also having these like cool curving branches. They're a little tricky to take care of, but I think the look is like very sculptural and cool and kind of adds to that like international flair that we have going on. One thing I do want to point out is that because of the phase of life we're in with like young kids and like there's teenagers in and out of here and everybody's eating and drinking everywhere, is that for my throw pillows, I kind of always go with like outdoor throw pillows, even if we're inside. They're very hard wearing, very durable. I can wash them. These I got from our house, and they kind of add to like this moody international vibe that I have going on in here. But guess what? If somebody spills milk or tea or coffee, all of which has happened before, they clean up really, really well. So hot tip, parents, outdoor cushions indoors is the way to go. We recently got a Samsung Frame TV, and without being too like MTV Cribs about it, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I'm a big art person, and I love the idea that I can download like cool paintings and just have them on display all the time, because guess what? None of us like to have an ugly TV up on the wall. Any kind of frame, TV, artwork, highly recommended. I kind of love it. I did something kind of controversial when we first moved into this house. It was a builder grade house, which means that everything had been done by a flipper. So we had lots of recessed lighting and everything was white and kind of boring. So the first thing I did was remove all the recessed lighting and put up these kind of monopoint lights together with this Serge Moody chandelier. And it's on a dimmer and it just kind of creates like, number one, it adds a little bit of mid-century style into this space, but number two, it kind of allows me to manipulate the lighting a little better than just like recessed lighting. I like the sculptural nature of it, and it kind of, like, there's nothing mid-century about this house, so sometimes I think putting something in that doesn't make sense makes things more interesting. But yeah, it's been very controversial with our friends in terms of people who come over here and they're like, well, my parents too, they were like, where's all your recessed lighting? I'm like, I don't like the big lights. I don't like the recessed lighting. Just get rid of it. I'm over it. The coffee table was actually a Pottery Barn find, and I love it because it's not too huge, not too overpowering. And guess what? It swivels. So there's all these like compartments. This is the nice one, so I styled this. But we can store things in here. Like I have my candles in here, my extra backup candles. There's some workout equipment in here that I'm not going to show you, but like basically the sides of the coffee table, they kind of like swivel all the way around, and there's these little compartments and you can just hide things in them. Because again, when people are coming over, I just need to like shove kid stuff away. So I loved that about the coffee table. Moving over here to my little shelfie arrangement. These are just IKEA shelves, super cheap, super easy. When we moved in, this was like kind of like a nothing space. I actually think there used to be like a weird fireplace here, and the flippers who flipped this house kind of got rid of it. So I didn't want it to be empty. And I love to collect things, as I've said a million times. And also as an interior designer, you often find yourself left with like vases and styling items that you kind of can't return after a certain amount of days. So I do find myself, kind of left with additional objects. And I thought, why not display them? Because they're beautiful. So we also love books in this house. I did kind of clean this up for you guys. But normally there's more books and stuff here. It's kind of like my little moving art wall. I rearrange it every few months. This art piece I got at the other art fair. It's 3 girls with some balloons. I'm one of 3 girls, and I also have 3 girls, so I thought it was like really kind of cute and symbolic. So yeah, I just kind of rotate things in and out of here. Sometimes there's plants on here. I like highly encourage people to have a shelf and play with it and move things around. It really does something to refresh the energy of your home when you make these like tiny changes every now and again. You don't want things to be stagnant. So yeah, that's my little shelf wall, my moving artwork shelf wall. So over here, this beautiful credenza I sourced from one of my vendors here in LA who imports things from India and Indonesia. It is a kind of a one of a kind. You can still see like where somebody stripped the paint off of it, and it's just so huge and beautiful and imposing. It doesn't store a thing. So I wouldn't call it like the most functional. There's no hidden storage here. It's literally like the real deal. But it is nice when you walk in the house to have, number one, a vignette, number two, someplace to drop your stuff. A lot of mail ends up here. When we're walking out the door, I like check myself in this mirror. The girls do too now that they're older. And it's another place to kind of display some of the things that I collect and books. By the way, I read all my coffee table books. They're not just for decoration. So I've read the Vogue music, I've read Bazaar Models. Like I think that a lot of inspiration can be gleaned from pretty pictures. Maybe I'm just still a little kid. I don't know, but I love to look through them for inspiration for our projects. And just when I'm feeling like I need to decompress, I'll just pick up one of these books and flip through it. The inspiration behind choosing this home came from the fact that I was pregnant with our 3rd child. At the time, it was 2019 pre-pandemic, and we were living in this really cool condo kind of in the West Hollywood area. And it was time. We had outgrown it. We already have 2 older girls and we just needed more space. We needed a yard. We wanted a family neighborhood that the girls could grow up in and go to school in. We kind of wanted our own little homey town kind of situation in Los Angeles, which is hard to find. So we settled on Burbank when we found this house, and it's been great. My personal design style is warm, global, eclectic, and always very rich and inviting. So the living room leads right into the kitchen behind me, so come on in. Welcome to the kitchen. I love this kitchen. It's a galley style kitchen. So in terms of the footprint of the house, there is not much that we could do with it unless we wanted to take down an entire structural wall. But I think that's the beauty of kind of living in smaller homes, is you have to work with the challenges that they bring. So I made more controversial decisions in this kitchen. Number 1 was taking out all the recessed lighting and installing these vintage brass unlacquered lights. And then number 2, which people really have strong feelings about, is I took down all the upper cabinets on this side. So like I mentioned, this was a builder grade home. This whole kitchen was just white on white on white. And when we finally decided to kind of not renovate it, but zhuzh it, I knew that I didn't want to get rid of the cabinets because they were brand new. And we weren't really trying to spend $100,000 on a tiny kitchen renovation. So I kind of thought about what I could do to warm it up while keeping these white, very functional cabinets. So one of the things I did was change the countertops. So we put in this porcelain, another controversial material. I have thoughts on porcelain as countertop material. I was curious about it because it was kind of new at the time and I love the look of it. Now, 5 years later, would I do it again in a kitchen? Probably not. It's not as durable as a natural stone or a quartz even. Although it looks beautiful, you can put hot things directly on it and it cleans up really nicely. I think over time, it's probably not holding up as well as a different type of stone would have. So that's my little tidbit on porcelain countertops. Obviously, when I took down the upper cabinets over here, I still needed storage for our dishes. So I got these reclaimed wood beams from a company in Pennsylvania. They salvage old barns and they make fireplace mantles and shelves out of them, and I kind of wanted to add more of like a rustic feel here. So these are just from a barn somewhere. They're 100 years old. You can see the holes here from where they were screwed into something before. And I think they just add this like nice texture. And by the way, all these dishes are the dishes that we use every day. Nothing here is for display only. So you can see my bowls have some chips and, you know, we're missing one mug because it broke. But I think that's the beauty of having open shelving is, number 1, you got to have cute dishes. Number 2, you got to use it every day. You don't want your stuff up here just collecting dust for no reason. And so the kids can reach. Sometimes the arrangement of things changes depending on who's putting the dishes away from the dishwasher. But I think it's, again, like a really beautiful way to create, you know, a little bit of change here and there in your house and keep the energy fresh. On this side, you can see that I decided, you know, I could have gone 2 ways with respect to the hood. We did this Zalige backsplash tile, and at one point I did consider doing it up here on the hood too, but in the end I decided to do the matching stone just for like more contrast. So that was the decision-making process behind, you know, stone versus tile on the hood. Over here is our bar. My husband works in the wine and spirits industry, and so in every house that we've ever lived in, we've always kind of had a dedicated bar area or 2. I actually bought this cabinet at CB2, and when we were doing the kitchen reno, I just had our stone fabricator use some of the leftover stone to add a top to it, and so it looks like part of the kitchen, even though it's like this random purple fluted cabinet. And then over here, I had my millwork guys make a matching broom closet because I had no storage in this kitchen. So it's kind of nice. Again, I'm not into the matchy. We could have gone white here, but I kind of fell in love with this cabinet and decided that on this side of the kitchen, we could replicate it and kind of add something different. Up here on the bar, you'll see I used the same reclaimed wood shelving, and I have a collection of colored glassware that I just keep out on display. It's not a china cabinet by any means, but it kind of serves the same function, and it's kind of really nice because when we entertain, we set up like an ice bucket here. We'll sometimes do like a pre-batch cocktail, and our friends just come over and they serve themselves here from whatever we've got going on. So it kind of keeps the drinks area away from the food area, and it also just looks really pretty. So this runner spans the entire side of this kitchen, and it's very special to me because it's part of the rug collaboration I did with Ruggable and Architectural Digest. Last year I was named one of the New American Voices, and in celebration of that, we all were asked to do 2 rugs in collaboration with AD and Ruggable. So this is one of my rugs. It was Moroccan inspired. It was gonna be white, and then at the last minute, we kind of decided to try it out in black, and I think that's what made it a bestseller. People really, really love, or seem to love, the moodiness of it. It's kind of abstract. And yeah, it kind of goes with a lot of different decor styles, and it's not too neutral. So it adds something without being overpowering. At least that was my thought process in terms of the design, was like thinking about what neutral means outside of white and beige. It's not always easy to design a narrow kitchen. I think a few things that you should think about are the amount of space between the 2 sides. You want to have at least 40 inches so that the dishwasher can open comfortably, and so that people can kind of pass each other comfortably or be in the kitchen. At least more than one person can be in the kitchen together. So pay attention to the amount of space between the countertops on either side. I think also you want to sort of make sure that your lighting is working for you. So you want to have lighting on both sides. So think about like where you're putting your lighting. As far as design goes, I think there are no restrictions. I consider it a black kitchen. So I don't think that you're gonna fool anybody by doing light colors versus dark colors in terms of the size. I think what you should do is just kind of do what you want. The other thing I will say is that you want to keep a lot of the clutter off the countertop. So we actually have our microwave under the countertop. There are those drawer style microwaves that are really amazing now that just save your counter space. So anything you can do to put appliances or storage or anything, you know, below countertop level and keep above countertop feeling less bulky, I think that's probably something you could try to do too. My journey to becoming an interior designer is very circuitous. I was an attorney for 10 years, and I would say about 7 years into that career, I kind of finally was like done with it. It was not for me. Although I did kind of learn a lot and grow, I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do something creative, more fulfilling. So I convinced my husband to move across the country to Los Angeles with our 2 kids. We had 2 kids at the time, so I could pursue celebrity styling. And I did celebrity styling for another 7 years, pretty much up until the pandemic. I also kind of realized that that career, probably about 3 or 4 years in, wasn't quite where I saw myself long term for a variety of reasons, but I didn't know what else to do, so I just kept doing it. And then the pandemic hit, and people stopped needing clothes and stopped going anywhere. At that time, I was pregnant with our 3rd daughter, and we had just moved into this house. So I decided to just do nothing. And then in 2021, when my clients started going out again, I had one client who was an influencer who had just gotten a new apartment, and she said, "You know what? I trust you. You have good taste. Why don't you just help me decorate my new place?" And at first I was like, "Oh, I don't do that." I always liked decorating my own places, but I'd never done it for someone else, and I'd never considered design, like interior design, as a career. But I said, sure, why not? I didn't like doing styling, so I was like, why, sure, it'll be fun. Long story short, that project got photographed and photos went everywhere, and all of a sudden more people were asking me for help with their homes. So it started out with shelf styling and throw pillows, and then every project got bigger and bigger, so that by the time 2021 ended, I kind of had to make a choice. It was either styling or interiors, and I chose interiors, and that's how I ended up here. All right, now I'll take you into our dining room. Follow me. So this is the dining room. I love that when you come in the front door, you can kind of see it off in the distance through this archway. I love a formal dining room. I'm not a big fan of open plans where everything is kind of in one room. So we use this dining table every day. Because of the size of our house, there's really no rooms that don't get used. And so it's been really awesome to just sit at the table and have dinner with our kids and just use it. It is black. As my kids like to say, like, we're out of walls in the house to paint black. But I just love the idea of this room being moody and kind of sexy and inviting. And, you know, at night when there's candlelight and ambient lighting, it's really warm and it's so nice. So I did have to add a couple of skylights here because when we did the renovation, we closed up this wall behind me that you see the artwork on. And so it did feel a little bit dark. So we did add a couple of Velux sun tunnels here so that, you know, during the day we could get some natural light in here, because sometimes I do sit here and work also. So we added the archway leading in, and we also added the skylights and closed up that wall. So actually the dining room was a sizable shift in terms of the renovation. We definitely made some changes to make it work for our family. Here we have like my main art wall. All of this is either signed prints or original artwork that I've collected over the years. There's really no rhyme or reason to how I collect artwork. It's really just how I feel. And my husband helped me do this gallery wall here. I think it's nice to have one gallery wall in your house. I don't think anybody wants to feel like they're living in an art gallery, but I think one gallery wall of artwork that makes you feel good is important. Here we've got our walnut wood, again, kind of mid-century style dining table from Sunday's Company. It's a little narrower than your average dining table because I wanted to make sure everybody could like easily walk around. It's a very simple wood. It's beautiful and the chairs are nice and wide, so it's really comfortable. Back here, we've got this huge diptych that I found at the Rose Bowl by an artist in Palm Springs. He actually does ceramic work, so it's very rare that he does paintings, but this painting, if you look at it up close, it's so precise. There's so much going on. I feel like I could stand here and look at it for 2 hours and not really fully comprehend what is going on. So I love it. I think it makes a statement on this back wall in this black room, and I tend to prefer larger artworks over smaller. I just think if you are decorating your own home, always go with the bigger artwork. It will look more expensive, it will look more designer, and you know, in terms of artwork, like bigger is better, always. That's my little hot tip on sourcing artwork. This credenza, I've had it for 14 years. Maybe not 14, I would say at least 10 years. I found it on Craigslist, and we repainted it. It used to be white and changed the knobs. It was my daughter's changing table. She's about to be 12. So I guess it's 12 years old. And it's moved with us everywhere across the country since then. And somehow it kind of works here. I mean, maybe we'll repaint it again. I don't know, but it is a solid wood, antique. And I just love that I used to change her diaper right here. And now it's still with us in this house as she's about to celebrate her 12th birthday. This mirror was the first expensive thing I ever bought. So I became an attorney past the bar in 2008 and immediately went and bought a car and bought some grown-up furniture. And this was one of those things. And what an amazing find, because again, this is something that has moved with us everywhere. I love a big mirror. I love the sides. I've contemplated repainting this as well, but I just can't like bring myself to do it. I think I bought it at like, I don't even know, like Living Spaces or something like that. And I think it was, you know, at that time I was 25, it was like $1,000, which is a lot to spend on a big mirror. And I just love it. I think that it bounces light. Again, this is a dark room, so it kind of just like reflects all the light from the light fixture and these sun tubes. So yeah, I just love the mirror. And at night when we have the candles and stuff like that, like it just is so nice. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this unless one day one of my kids wants it for their house or something. Now it's sentimental, so. Moving on to the rug, this is rug number 2 for the collection that I did with Ruggable. Again, we kind of kept it in that Moroccan sort of world, Berber style in terms of the design, but I wanted something that maybe was a little bit more neutral. And I don't always recommend having a rug in a dining area, but Ruggables are great, obviously, because they clean up really nicely, you can wash them, etc. So this pattern was inspired by, you know, color palettes that I've seen in India, and I thought that it would be nice to kind of give people like a little hint of something. So we've got some black and turquoise on one side, but it's not too overpowering. It's more about the shapes and like the overall sort of style of it being, you know, a little bit international. So yeah, I obviously genuinely love it because it's here on display in my house. I think that's my goal in life, is to kind of only put things out in the world that I would want to consume for myself. Over here we've got this light fixture. I think I got it from Polly and Bark. It's been up here basically since we moved in, so over 5 years. It adds a ton of light to the space. It might be time for a new look, I don't know, but I love the sculptural nature of it. I've hung it kind of low here, just to kind of provide more light on the dining table. I didn't want it to be too high up and close to the ceiling. I wanted it to sort of add shape and also illuminate the table. And I like that it's long. It kind of moves around all day long. So again, I like an ever evolving house. And so anything that kind of changes its look here and there, I'm here for. So yeah, I don't know how much longer I'll keep it, but for now, it's here and it's worked with all the iterations of design that I've done in this dining room. So over here in this corner, I just needed more storage. That's really what this is about. So these are 2 IKEA Billy bookcases. I'm sure everyone has some version of a Billy bookcase in their house, and we painted them black because at the time I bought these, they didn't come in black. Now they do. And I wallpapered the back of them with this like peel and stick wallpaper just to add some color. Here are my little plant babies. Like I said, I'm a big plant mom, so you'll see plants everywhere. And it's really extra storage for all my tchotchkes. Again, we use all this stuff. We use the bowls, we use the plates, we use the candlesticks. There's really no styling happening here. It's just more storage than anything else. But I think it works because, as you can see, most of the dishes and stuff like that, they're all in the same color palette. So I think you don't need to overthink styling and, you know, display if things are generally in the same color palette. So if you're not too sure how to style your shelves, I would say start with a color palette of like 1 or 2 colors. Here we've got a lot of white and terracotta. This I picked up in Mexico, so that's like a moment there, but everything else is kind of in the same color world, and I think that's probably why it works. It does evolve a lot because we use things and put them back, but yeah, I think that, you know, kind of goes with the whole collected vibe of the house, and it kind of adds something functional and fun to look at in this otherwise empty corner. The advice I'd give somebody who wants to kind of transition into interior design is to learn, like take some classes, get some technical knowledge. The reason that it worked for me, I think, and, you know, kind of ballooned so quickly is because I had two previous careers that coincidentally lend themselves to being a good interior designer. From being an attorney, I learned how to run a business and do contracts and serve clients. And from being a stylist with celebrities, I also learned how to serve high-end clients, but also how to create and convey creative images and concepts. I think if I didn't have those, you know, collectively 15 years of those 2 careers, I don't think I would have found success as quickly. So I definitely think interior design is an amazing career, but you do have to have some form of, you know, training and education on how to run a business, how to serve clients. And if you have time and money, you should definitely get some technical skills. I didn't know how to draw, I still don't, but I had the business wherewithal to know that I needed to hire somebody who could right away. My favorite home design tip is to design around the natural light. It's kind of something that you can't fight in any house. It kind of is what it is unless you're gonna start busting out walls and adding windows, which you can do. But if that's not an option, you kind of have to go with what the natural light is doing. So now let's head into the primary bedroom and bathroom. As you can see on the way in, I have this kind of dramatic art piece. Again, it was a flea market find, and I bought it because number one, if you look close, it's like so precise and it's all on cardboard. I asked the seller who Scott Brinkmeyer is, and he said he's like an accountant. And at the time it resonated with me because I also used to be a lawyer and now I do something creative, or, you know, I've switched careers. And so I felt like not only do I love the piece, it's either tragic or triumphant, I can't tell. But I love the story that this accountant, Scott Brinkmeyer, if you're watching Scott, I love this piece, has this like talent that he just can paint like this. It's kind of amazing. Come on into the primary bedroom and bathroom. I painted this room orange, as you can see. It's actually a lime wash color by Portola. So it's really more like a terracotta, and if you look at it closely, it's very textured, it's very organic. I was kind of trying to channel stucco that you see in India or Mexico. Mexico City is one of my favorite places to visit, and it gives that sort of vacation vibe, because who isn't trying to have a vacation every time they walk into their bedroom? So yeah, the overall feel here was sort of, let's call it Mexico City vacation, shall we say. I just got this beautiful bed by Our House. It is kind of on the low side and it's a platform bed. It's this beautiful like black wood. And the best part about it, which I'll show you over here, is that it has storage. There are drawers underneath. They slide out so easily. And yeah, in a small house, guys, I'm always looking for ways to store things and keep clutter to a minimum. So I love this bed. It's called the Moody bed by Our House. The overall vibe in here, like I said, is vacation. This light fixture I love. I got it from Soho Home. It's actually fabric, but it kind of has like an elegant gathered look to it. So I thought it was very reflective of how my husband and I kind of live. We like nice things, but everything has to be touchable. Everything has to be something that you can actually use, or, you know, that we wouldn't be too upset if it got ruined or anything like that. So this light fixture from Soho Home's new collection, I am absolutely obsessed with for that reason. Over here, I got this chair again at the Rose Bowl flea market. I'm like their #1 shopper apparently. And it is almost 100 years old, this chair. It is a vintage deck chair that I guess they used to use on steamer ships when they were crossing the Atlantic. And so this part folds out. There's like a footrest, but basically the rich people who could afford to have nicer accommodations on these big ships would have chairs like this, and they would pull them out to the deck and sit and lounge on the decks of these steamer ships. So I thought that was kind of cool. I just love the cane detailing. Like, this never goes out of style. You guys know this. You're shopping out there now, CB2, Crate and Barrel, everywhere. Everybody's still doing cane. It kind of resurrects every decade, because there was cane in the 70s, cane in the 80s. I think maybe not so much in the 90s, but you know, it's definitely a timeless thing. I think that this chair kind of proves that. So yeah. Over here, we've got our nightstands, again, from Our House. This is called the Polanco nightstand, I think, and it is gorgeous. It's like all these little pieces of wood that are kind of put together, and it has this lovely curvy shape, and it's a nice size. It's got, you know, 2 drawers. It's like a push close. So yeah, just super streamlined, but also interesting. That's kind of what I was going for in here. Over here, I've got this vintage art piece that I found at Decor Pasadena, which is another place in town that I like to get a lot of things from. They import a lot of things from all over the world. It's a Sanufo hand-woven art piece that they framed, and I love the way that these textiles are created, because I did some research, and basically the whole village participates in creating this. So the women and the men, they do the textile, they do the dye, and these depict like stories of their village. So I think the fish is for fertility, and you know, some of the other, each symbol has like a meaning that depicts their life. So Yeah, I just think obviously it kind of goes with the vacation vibe, but I just loved it. I fell in love with the story. I love the texture. And they're kind of hard to find. So if you can snap one up on Etsy or somewhere, consider yourself lucky because they're not always readily available. The rug here is from CB2. I love it because it's flat weave. Again, if anything gets on it, you probably won't see. This is a very high traffic area. We have lots of people in and out of our bedroom at all times. You know, like I said, we have a 4-year-old. She has adopted this room as her second home. So yeah, just very hard wearing, but also kind of in that same color palette that I've got going on here, like the rust, the black, the cream, and I love the floral motif. So yeah, I think it just kind of ties everything in. I always shop for rugs thinking about how they can be like the cherry on top. It's pretty rare that I will base a room design around a rug. I kind of think about it in the reverse, like we pull the room together. Now, how can the rug, you know, complement everything that's already in there? So it's generally the last thing that I'll source when I'm designing a space. So I went with these black linen shades just to add moodiness and drama. As you can tell from the rest of the house, I love black and I love moody design. And I thought that the black felt a little bit sort of rustic and different. And there was really no other thought process behind the fact that I knew there was going to be some black in terms of the artwork and the bed. And so I wanted to tie it in with this linen shade that kind of feels a little bit organic and handmade. Moving over to the dresser. This dresser I think we've had for a long time. It was not an expensive dresser, but it provides that little hint of mid-century style that I like to throw in every room in my house. And it's this beautiful walnut color. It's held up really well. And it just provides great storage and kind of some architectural detailing and some gold. So nothing, you know, spectacular to say about the dresser except that it's functional and it's got a cool shape. My favorite room in the house right now is my bathroom. We actually just renovated it. I waited 5 years to do this. Every other space got touched before my bathroom. My bathroom was last. And I kind of went all out, which you'll see. So it's a tiny space, but it's really enjoyable to be in. So now I'll take you into my favorite space, my tiny little dreamy primary bathroom that I just redid. Of course, we had to do lime wash in here too, again from Portola, just to give that kind of texture. You can see also that the colors echo what's happening in the bedroom. So this dresser, it's not really a dresser, it's a vanity truly. It's by James Martin. I got it through Perigold, and it's very, very similar to the dresser in the bedroom, which I like. I think it provides some continuity, which you always want between a primary bedroom and bathroom. And it's the same walnut tone. We've got a black sort of quartz countertop, and it's got like all these little cool storage gadgets. Without showing you the mess, there's like outlets inside, which is key. We try to do this in all our projects now, where we put outlets in hidden places, like for charging things, for hair tools, etc. Like it's really nice because then you don't have to see so many ugly outlets on the walls. I did these gorgeous fixtures here by Brizo. What I love about Brizo is that they have this finish called Luxe Brilliance Gold, I think it's called, and it's not like a yellow gold. It's very faded and aged, and it kind of went with what we were doing in the bedroom. And it's got these like black jewel handles. They literally look like crystals. They're so stunning and I love them. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of luxury. The idea behind the bathroom was like touchable luxury. So I wanted it to feel very expensive, like an escape, but I also wanted you to feel like you could come in and use it. And so I hope that we achieved that. The best part to me about the bathroom is this Zalige tile. I got it from Bedrosians. You can get it on Perigold or directly through Bedrosians. And I used two shapes. I've always wanted a black bathroom. So I used the subway shape and the little 2x2 square shape, same material, just different sizes of the tile. And on the floor, we did a chevron pattern. And in the shower on the floor, we continued that pattern. And on all walls, we did this like little mosaic. It feels so glam and rustic at the same time because you've got the shine from the black tile, but you see all these like little imperfect edges. By far the biggest transformation in this bathroom though was the Velux skylight. I, on vacation, love staying at hotels and places where you can shower outside. So when I was designing this bathroom, I was like, how can I recreate this experience for myself every day? So we put a skylight in the shower, and when the guy was installing it, he was like, why aren't you worried that someone's gonna see you? And I was like, no, if a bird sees me, if a plane sees me, it's fine. Nothing they probably haven't seen before. So what I love about this one is that it's solar powered. You just push a button and it opens. And you feel like you're showering outside, but you're inside, so no bugs. And it just provides like so much fresh air. Like, what more could you want? It's like the most lovely, luxurious shower experience. All the steam goes out. Like, it's just so nice. Really has improved the quality of my life. I'll tell you that. As far as the fixtures go, we again went with Brizo. Gotta have a hand shower, gotta have multiple levers, multiple options. We've got like 10 settings on the shower head. Again, like Brizo just really gets it when it comes to bathroom fixtures. You need lots of options. When I was renovating the bathroom too, it never had a shower bench, which I think is a necessity because like, how can you shave your legs without somewhere to prop your leg up? It was complicated for a while there. So we added in the bench, we added in some shower niches. I love the way the sunlight hits the tile. You can see, I actually didn't notice this until I started showering in here, but some of these tiles are blue, so you can like see it here. It just kind of adds to like the handmade sort of feel of things. I know that this would really probably bother some people, but I was so excited by it when I discovered that. I thought it was so cool. I love anything with Astorian's, the liege tile, because it's handmade. You know, it just makes you think of like the person or the people who physically spent the time to make this tile. It's kind of amazing. It's kind of like, it just feels so special. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's my shower. Favorite place to be in the house. Home for me is wherever my husband and my kids are. We've lived in a few different places, big, small, cozy, you know, doesn't matter as long as we're together with our friends and family. So I've tried really hard to create a home where people feel welcome when they come here and where my kids feel like when they grow up one day, they want to come back to.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.